Dopamine is more than a reward molecule. It's a motivation molecule. So a monkey reaching for a banana is more dopamine inducing than a monkey having a banana. You get dopamine from getting the banana, but a monkey surrounded by bananas is not going to have any motivation to reach for more bananas. And that might be what's got you stuck in midlife malaise. My name is Craig Filek, and over the past 15 years, I've coached hundreds of the most successful men in America to clarify what's next for the second half of their lives. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why success leaves many midlife men feeling stuck, bored, empty, and of course, what to do about it to get your spark back quickly. There's a surprising link between high-achieving men getting stranded in a lack of motivation. If you've climbed Success Mountain, you've checked all the check boxes. Go to school, get good grades, get the money, get the house, the wife, the kids, the cars, the toys, the vacations. And you look around and you say, now what? Society gives us a roadmap to get this far, and so few men ever reach the top that nobody has really mapped out what comes next. So you might end up in one of three midlife pitfalls. Number one, spinning away on the golden hamster wheel. You don't really know what else to do. You're making good money, so you just keep going for it, but you're not really going for anything more, and you're burning out or you're just bored and you just don't know what else to do. Number two, maybe your company is running without you, or you've sold, or a partial exit, and you're just golfing your way to the grave, or surfing your way to the grave, or piloting something all the way to the grave. You get just enough dopamine to keep your nose above water, but you're not really making a contribution. It's just not your second mountain. And number three is hang gliding into a hurricane. You're hell bent on finding that dopamine and you're going to do whatever it takes. And you can get all kinds of rushes out there, but they're definitely not making a significant positive contribution. And we all know where that leads. So today, I'm going to explain the basic neurochemistry behind the midlife malaise and how to get out of it before you get trapped in mediocrity for the second half of your life. And we all know men that have landed there. Like most men, you were programmed to perform by your family, school, society, maybe religion, possibly the military, media. Everything around us tells us produce, perform, protect. And that gives us purpose in the first half of our life. We're motivated every day to get up, to get out there, but we're dreaming of the day when we conquer the mountain until we actually get there. Now we've got it. And midlife often becomes this perfect storm of kids growing up, not needing us in the same ways, facing mortality as our parents age and pass on, maybe losing some friends along the way. And for successful high achievers, we hit a point where money no longer motivates us. We're surrounded by bananas. We don't need another banana. Maybe we sell our company, business runs without us. We've produced enough to know that more dollars won't add more dopamine, not in the same way that they did a decade ago. So what do? Here's the insight. Everything that motivated you to get you to the top of Success Mountain, that was all what we call extrinsic rewards. Bonuses, commissions, accolades, windfalls, incredible achievements. Yes, congratulations. That's very, very important. And it sort of ripens us into something deeper. It wakes up something inside of us. We start to feel hollow, empty. We lose motivation. Boredom sets in and we stop reaching because we don't need more bananas. So dopamine, again, it's the reward molecule, but even more so, it's the motivation molecule. And in midlife, we start to break down, which is scary. Our identity is tied to our success, but life has more in store for high achievers like us. And we know that there has to be more than this. We just have this deeper, intuitive knowing. The problem is we're out of roadmap, and so few men make it this far. There's no real research into what comes next. I was adopted at birth, and my folks are about 30 when they adopted me. So by the time I was 14, 15, 16, I was watching my parents' very successful Chicago friends going through their midlife transition. So we're talking about the senior vice president of sales for Sears, a guy who is second generation family plumbing supply company. They were doing $200 or $300 million a year, professionals, all sorts of very successful midlife men. And they were going through their midlife transition. And every single time they'd come over for dinner, my godfather would toast every Christmas and Easter with, follow your bliss, with a literal golden goblet. And that made sense to me. I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, okay, that's good advice. And I'm watching these successful midlife men go through their midlife transitions. Some of them did go and follow their bliss. Some of them crashed and burned. They got divorced. They ended up in some sort of midlife catastrophe. Some of it was really good. Some of it was really bad. And some of it was just mediocre. They just kind of petered out and they never really reached for anything beyond what they currently had. They started playing not to lose after decades of playing to win and actually winning. So I've seen this pattern for many, many decades now. I'm 48 and I've done men's work for 30 years. And what I've noticed is several paths that you can go down. The problem is you're out of roadmap. And so few men ever make it this far that there's no real research into what comes next. If you can trust the larger process, then you can understand that beyond the first mountain, beyond all those extrinsic rewards and accolades, there is a second mountain, a mountain of purpose, meaning, fulfillment, impact, and ultimately legacy. And on the backside of that mountain, it's the same for all of us. It's decline and death. And you're not going to make a meaningful impact and leave that legacy in the last inning. That's something that has to start now. And so I've watched these men go through their midlife transitions and I've seen the paths that they go down. Most of them end up in some kind of mediocre mid ground where they're no longer playing to win. They're just playing not to lose. But some men have this natural inclination to maximize their potential. And if that's you, you're in the right place. So there are maps like the hero's journey. Following your bliss made sense to me growing up. I didn't know that there was something else to do. So I followed that. And I had a very different life path than my folks and all their friends. Now, most of them didn't end up following their bliss, but that is a clue. There is a map. Another map is Maslow's self-actualization stage. He never published about it, but posthumously, there's another book called Transcend by Scott Barry Kaufman, where he talks about beyond self-actualization, right? It's survival, safety, social belonging, success, where the roadmap tends to end in society. There is self-actualization, and beyond that is self-transcendence, where my life is no longer my own. I am here in service of a greater purpose, of a greater cause, a community, here to make a positive impact in the world. And I think that there's just a certain type of man that really feels called to that. So that's what this YouTube channel is about. That's who this is for. If that's you, happy to talk at some point. You can reach out to me at any time, Craig@purposemapping.com. I'd love to hear about your journey. I'd love to hear what you're up to. And if you're stuck somewhere, I'd love to support you to get through that and get on to your second mountain, make that meaningful impact. So my life's work is now pulling all of these maps together from the fringes of the literature. As a philosophy and religion major, just looking for what are these peak experiences that we now call flow or self-actualization? What is this? And I've researched the history of philosophy all the way up to modern neuroscience and positive psychology. And there are maps for this. And I believe that what the world needs more than anything right now is good men on a good path to making a meaningful difference with their gifts and talents. So what can you do? Well, step one is to simply stop. Just stop trying to motivate yourself to do something that you're no longer motivated to do anymore. You don't need a prescription or self-medication to push through and keep grinding. Just stop. You've gotten to the top of Success Mountain. You've checked that checkbox. Congratulations. You've arrived. Take a breath. Look around. And step two is to just give yourself some time to rest and reflect. Let the natural process of personal evolution work its magic inside you, like a caterpillar in a cocoon. You can't rush this process. It takes a few years. Just rest. Just let it work you. And number three is to notice what lights you up. There's 100 videos and books on finding your purpose, but it's really as simple as just following the thread of the thing that most lights you up. By focusing less on the extrinsic rewards that leave you bored and empty, you can start to rewire your brain to focus on the intrinsically rewarding activities that bring you the fulfillment that you expected from success. Another word for intrinsic motivation is flow. You probably heard that word. That's what you're looking for. Flow creates natural norepinephrine. It creates natural dopamine, natural endorphins, serotonin, oxytocin, all the good stuff. You don't have to reach outside yourself for those things anymore. And coffee and sugar and who knows, cocaine, sex, all the things that we look to when we're not creating enough dopamine intrinsically, we look for it outside of ourselves. As the mud starts to settle, you'll notice little things that light you up. And the problem is successful men are so used to winning that they develop a fixed mindset. Your old identity has to crumble to be reinvented. And that's going to happen whether you want it to or not. It's just like puberty, right? I talk about midlife like sort of a second puberty. It's just recapitulating this evolutionary growth spurt. And every man goes through it, but not everybody lands in a place where they are positioned to maximize their potential. A lot of them peter out in some kind of mediocrity. The question is, are you going to reinvent yourself as a mediocre midlife man, or are you going to use your momentum to go through the dip, right? From the first mountain, there's a dip, and then rocket into your next exciting project with more purpose, meaning, impact, fulfillment, and flow? That's a real question. And you might need to sleep on it, or you might know the answer right now, but successful midlife men do have to make a choice at a certain point. Will you carry on to your second mountain and maximize your potential with the decades ahead of you? Or will you retire to mediocrity and just let the world burn down around you? When you reach that self-transcendence level in Maslow's hierarchy, your life is no longer your own. It's a really cool place to be because now life is living through you. Now you're just a smaller part of a larger pattern, and you get to feel a part of the universe in a way that climbing the first mountain of ego achievement and success, it's all about me and my needs and my pleasure and what I've won. And that's cool. And that's just the first half of life. That's climbing the first mountain. You go through this dip, you have the little breakdown, and then you find your second mountain. And it's all about those gifts being harnessed and utilized for a purpose far greater than yourself. If that lights you up, there's a link below to book a 20-minute midlife clarity call with my team where we'll run you through our purpose diagnostic and help you get clear on your next steps. That call is free for men who've run out a roadmap on top of Success Mountain and are ready to go to the next level of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. If you're not there yet, no worries. There's some other links to resources down below that have helped me on my own journey. Hopefully they'll help you as well. After 30 years of men's work, I really do my best to support every man to take the next step that's right in front of him. The reason that I focused on successful midlife men is simply because there's no other resources out there. And it's kind of politically incorrect to even acknowledge that success can lead to depression. I've got some tools proven to turn that dip into a massive positive contribution. So if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. And if this lit you up a little bit, share this with a man that you know who needs to hear this. Because one thing I know about successful midlife men is it's lonely at the top. We tend to isolate, and just reaching out and sharing and connecting with men and just kind of deepening the conversation, using videos like this as a jumping off point for the conversation, it can really open up a whole new space of fulfillment inside of you. I highly recommend it. And if you'd like to hear my theory on the unique predicament that successful midlife men get mired in at the intersection of longevity, affluence, and masculine purpose, check out my video called Midlife Crisis 2.0, Why Achieving It All Isn't Enough Anymore. And there's plenty of other videos on my channel to address your specific needs. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.